All right, here we are at the Forge. I, of course, am Slider. This is Alfonso. I said that right. Alfonso.
Yeah,
I don't want
right.
to. Okay, it's Alfonso.
I would have said you're right no matter. You could have said like Jim, and I would have been like, that's right.
Well, that's my name, so that would have been easy. But we're at the Forge here. This is Heartsick. And we've been waiting for these guys for a long time. We got a lot of music for them. You guys know we play them all the time. Now we actually finally get to talk to them. Yeah. So, how's it going, man? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's been. I mean, you guys have been sending us your music. You guys have been doing, touring. We just never been able to catch up. And how's the tours going? How you guys been doing? And
been good, man.
Yeah.
It's been crazy. It's the last 2 years have been absolute insanity. Just like the growth has been awesome, which is great. Not complaining at all. So it's just been it's just gotten bigger, which is nice. So we've been busier, and it's just been kind of a whirlwind. But we've been good, man. We've been very blessed to be able to play some great shows this year. We got to do Incarceration. We got to do Blue Ridge Rock Festival, and we actually got to play.
Did you play? I was just gonna say, you really
twice.
Got to play?
We got to play 4 times. So because we ended up playing our set that we were set to play for the opening of the main stage, and then we did a generator shows that we wanted to do. So after our set on Thursday, that night when the festival was over, we did a generator set, and then Friday they canceled half the fest, so then we did another generator show at night. No, Friday they had the whole fest go on, and then after the fest was over, we did another generator show, and then Saturday when they canceled, we put on another generator show, and that was 5,000 people, and that was absolute madness. Yeah,
no shit.
I've got videos and picture to prove that. There's a picture that somebody took, and it's an overhead picture of where our generator stage was, and it was just people.
No
it was
kidding.
Insane.
That'd be
super
great.
Insane. Yeah,
that'd be great.
It got so big that security from Blue Ridge Rock Festival had to do security for us. So we technically headlined Blue Ridge because they canceled the festival, so we were the headliners.
So how were you able to go on when everything else was canceled?
Because what we ended up doing when we got added onto Blue Ridge, we knew we were opening the main stage, and we were to drive all the way to Virginia from Michigan is a really long drive with a van and a trailer and going up through those mountains and stuff. It was almost 20 hours realistically. And we were we just want to stay there and catch a lot of these bands. That was our plan. So we had planned to just watch the bands anyway. And I was why don't we do some generator shows? And we reached out to a couple of people in some camps that were there. And this one camp, this is their camp name. I always feel really weird saying this because it's just the most jarring camp name, but their name is Camp Show Me Your Butthole. That is their and if you're wondering, yes, they do contest of buttholes. I don't know. This is not me.
It's not a nudist colony, is it?
No. They're all super awesome people. It's just I'm very weird in that, that's none of my business type of thing. But they were super cool. They let us stay in their camp, and their camp was literally in the best spot of Blue Ridge that you could possibly imagine. So we were okay, well, we've got a spot that we can stay, and they're cool with us playing. So we had some friends that have they're a DJ and they're a sound guy. So we just brought literally all the sound gear from a professional venue, and we just set up a professional pop-up show. We had subs, we had tops, we had everything. So we were screw it, let's just do our main stage set Thursday, and then every night at night when the festival's over and when they go do their pre-parties, Blue Ridge was well, as long as you guys aren't making noise until past 2 a.m., you're welcome to do whatever you need to do. We can't tell you no because it's not inside the actual festival. So we were okay, and that's what we did, and it worked out.
Shit.
Yeah, it was the absolute best situation we could have. Blue Ridge, unfortunately, canceling for people was terrible for them, but it was excellent for us.
It was excellent for you guys.
Yeah, it was the best case scenario.
But those are always the best. Those are always the best shows. Those pop-up shows. Even if you did it 3 times, you still had, like you said, 5,000 people show up the last night. I mean, those are always the best ones.
Yeah, the pop-up shows that we did before the festival got canceled. Thursday night we had 300 people. Friday night we had 200-300 people. So they were going great. And for us, that's how we got our start anyway. When we were in college, when we started this band, Lansing didn't have any music venues. All the music venues in Lansing back in that time when we started as a band didn't exist because they all had shut down. Kind of music was kind of on a downturn there. And like it was like the jam band era now in East Lansing.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews and stuff and metal and stuff was just going way down the tube. So the only shows we were able to play were pop-up shows in art galleries and college frat parties.
Yeah.
So for us, this was like, we are so used to this. This is like, hell yeah, let's do this. Most bands would be like, we can't do that. Like, we don't know. Like, but we were like, nope, let's go.
Let's go.
So, yeah. So it was great.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
damn. That's got to be one of the kind of best experiences for you guys, just to get out there and just have fun. I mean, there's there's no time limit. There's at 2 a.m.
Exactly.
Fuck, you can play all night and
Yeah, but we were still modest. For us, it's like we were just like, listen, if we can do 30 minutes, that's more than enough for us to get our point. We don't feel like, we're not one of those bands like we need to play at least 45 minutes. Like, that's not us. We're just kind of like, dude, give us 30 minutes and we will do our thing. So it worked out great. It worked out awesome.
That's great. Now the rest of your band, you said they're kind of spread out. But,
yeah.
They're. I mean, I know you guys got your merch table for pre-show and everything.
Yep.
What was there? I mean, the whole band's experience. What was that like? What were they? Were they like, holy shit? Is this
All
really
of us
happening?
were. Yeah. So like. Yeah, you have to think, like, when we planned to go and play Blue Ridge and we got accepted to play, we were like, holy crap, we're playing main stage. That's insane. Yeah. But when we were doing our generator shows, none of us ever thought, like, out of all the scenarios that could possibly happen, that scenario of the whole festival canceling was absolutely not a thing.
Right.
Add the scenario of, like, a last-minute pop-up show where that many people would show up was insane, because what basically ended up happening, it was like 2:30 in the afternoon, the announcement goes out, Saturday, festival's done. Mm-hmm. Somebody knocks on our van because they knew that we were doing pop-up shows. Like, you guys have to do a show. People are so pissed. They're going to riot. You have to do something. You have to do something. And it had been raining, but it stopped raining. And we're like, okay, can we get X amount of people to help us move our 20 by 20 canopy? And we had, like, within like seconds, there was like 15 frat dudes just like,
no shit.
Let's move. I have video of just like moving this like giant canopy. And from like 2:30 to like 5 or 5:30 or 6, we were setting up sound and everything. And in that time, we had a band that was with us that was playing the shows with us. And we had them and then some of our friends just go tell people, hey, we're doing a pop-up show again because the festival's canceled. We thought, okay, maybe like 1,000 people will show up by word of mouth. That's about it. Because if you were on the Blue Ridge campgrounds, I mean, they went back. I mean, it was like miles to the campgrounds. And then like 30 minutes before the show, there was like 1,000. We're like, okay, cool. And then like 15, there's like 2,000. We're like, okay. And then like by 6:30, it was just packed, and we're like, what is happening? And we're like, we're gonna get shut down. This is definitely getting shut down. And then we just started the show, and it didn't get shut down. No. And then like we added like 3 other bands to do it with us. So it was like a band called Fight From Within, and then I Set My Friends on Fire, and then another band. I'm just spacing on the name, but there was 4 bands total. And we're like, after each band, we're like, there's no way they're gonna let this continue because more and more people are showing up. In fact, people were left the Anthony Oliver and Shinedown Papa Roach acoustic set because it was so loud that they just stopped. They were like, we can't do this anymore. And all those people came to us, and it's like 7 o'clock at night, and there's just like a sea of people. I have video on my phone that I will show you. Yeah. And we were like, after every band, we're like, this is going to get shut down. This is going to get shut. And it did not. And Blue Ridge actually ended up coming up to our thing and was like, how much longer you guys got? We're like, an hour. They're like, go for it. And we're like, fuck yeah. So we're like, holy shit, yeah. So it worked out. Like,
thank God you didn't cover Let's Start a Riot then.
Yeah, right, yeah. No, let's not do that.
No.
Let's start a riot. That would have been really bad. No, but yeah, it worked out, man. It was the furthest outcome we could have ever imagined.
That was awesome. That is so great to hear.
We all sat down in the van afterwards and we were driving home, and we're like, out of every scenario that we were joked about this week, and that was literally the scenario none of us would have pegged ever at all. That would have been the last thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And like you said, you have growth now, and things are getting better for you guys. And I've been following you guys probably since, I don't know, Jesus. My station's almost 14 years old.
So you've been following us for a while.
For a long time, yes. And so I have, I think most of your songs. I think
cool.
I have most.
Sick.
and they were all downloads. They were all sent. I think you guys sent them to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, every time you guys do something, you always just send us stuff, and it's great because all the DJs get it, and then full rotation, everything.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But I've watched you guys grow, and my thing is the reason I started Asgard was for bands like you. You getting started, like you said, colleges and little places, and then I get to watch you guys grow.
It's important,
man. It's so great, to say, you know what, I got their first fucking album.
The thing is outlets like you. People don't understand how important outlets like this are. Because what ends up happening is, so for example, let's take the example of our pop-up show where we had 5,000 people. It was an insane, this whole insane thing. But the collective bigger media that makes money doing this only focused on, Anthony Oliver and Papa Roach and Shinedown played an acoustic set. And there was and you could tell that they had to set up the shots so that there was you didn't see the emptiness in the back, right?
Right.
And I'm just something else happened that was way bigger than that, and they're not paying attention to it. And the reason why is because to them, it's bands like us don't matter because we're not on these giant stages selling out stadiums and stuff. So the money isn't there for them. They in their perception think no one's going to care about this Heartsick band that is still sort of on the up and coming when everybody's going and buying Shinedown tickets and Five Finger Death Punch tickets and Avenged Sevenfold and all these other bands. But what these outlets don't understand is this is where those bands start, right?
Yes.
So it's so important to have media outlets like you that to fill that gap, because the truth is there's so much more going on in the heavy metal and underground rock scene than there is in the mainstream. I mean, when you look at the mainstream, you're you've got 5 bands, maybe. You've got Five Finger Death Punch, Breaking Benjamin, you've got Godsmack and Stained, and that's probably arena bands right now. Those are your arena bands, and then you have Papa Roach. You have Shinedown too. But then you have Shinedown, and then you have Bring Me the Horizon, where you start getting into the lower tier of they're not playing stadiums, but they're selling out.
Yes,
they're selling out
venues. They're selling out these venues.
They're selling out amphitheaters and stuff, right? So it's and I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's I'm sorry, Five Finger Death Punch does not need another article written about them. They really don't. They're on the radio all the time. People, no one new is discovering Five Finger Death Punch at this point. They have a fan base, and their friends are telling their friends and their friends and their friends. Bands like us need to be out in the media that. So it's just so important to have people like you, man. I am 100%. Always for the little guy type of person.
Yeah, so. That's why I started that, because I came home from Iraq and was going to concerts in 94, 95, and I was like, who are these little bands? When I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, I'd see there was 2 bands, Autograph, Motley Crue. I saw Metallica open up for Ozzy. I saw Rat open up for Van Halen. So it was always 2 bands, but now I'm watching all these local bands. I'm like, they don't have an outlet. They don't have nowhere to go. They don't have a platform. Well, so that's what I came up with, and now it's I get worldwide, bands, but it's still they're the small guys that I can still promote them, and we still do interviews. We do Twitch interviews with them overseas.
But that matters, because the thing is there's this sort of idea, and every time I say this, people are I never thought about it like this, but it's there's this connotation when you say local band, for whatever reason. There has been this sort of negative connotation to the word local signifies less than, not as talented, not as well-written music, not as organized, not as professional. You tell somebody, I'm going to watch my friend in a local band, and the first thing they think is, hobbyist.
Yeah.
But you tell somebody, I'm going to go watch Five Finger Death Punch, they're that's a professional band. But the reality is that that's not the case. There are tons and tons of bands are in a local scene that I prefer to call the underground scene, that are light years better than some of your favorite bands right now.
Absolutely.
But there's this idea of, it's a local band, so I don't want to go to that local show, because people just assume local band equals less than, not good as. And it's just a fallacy. It's not true.
It is. And it's our motto is, we play the local independent bands no matter what local you're from, because we rock in every language.
Exactly.
And we have bands from, I think, 70 countries now. And
that's amazing.
Some of them are in their own language, and I love it.
It's great.
I even have, I had Volbeat I was interviewing, and they did. Was it Volbeat? Yeah, it was Volbeat. They in Afrikanese.
Yeah.
He said you're listening to this is, and you're listening to Asgard Radio, but he did it in Afrikanese. So it's like I have that bumper,
That's
and
awesome.
I have Russian, I have Greece, I
Yeah,
have.
dude.
So it's yeah, it's cool. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, it's cool. I gotta meet people, but it's all.
Of course.
I told Sebastian Bach one time we were doing an interview. I said I'm using you. I said I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm using you. I'm gonna play your interview in part on air, and then I'm playing a band no one's ever heard of. I said I'm gonna bring them in with you. I said, but I'm playing a whole band and nobody's ever heard of.
Well, I mean, Sebastian knows that too. You know what I'm saying? Because he's using you too, right? He needs all of these people need media to continue to talk about them.
Yes.
It's just what it is. So it's like, it's this relationship that has to exist, right? But the more that the relationship doesn't exist with bigger media outlets, the further away it gets from what it should be about, which is the scene in general,
Yes.
right? Like Papa Roach, Seether, Shinedown, all these bands, Pop Evil, whoever you like, they started it. Like there isn't this magical place where they just start off here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's not like they're like, oh, Papa Roach is art. No.
They started at the small,
Exactly.
So, now I'm going to get into some questions that I do for the listeners. The listeners, this comes from them. Heartsick, where'd it come from? Where'd you get the name from?
So the name came from our old managers. So we used to be called No Life back in the day, and our drummer passed away. And after our drummer passed away, we decided that maybe it was time to change the band name. And we all were coming up with different band name ideas, and one of our managers was like, what about Heartsick? And we were like, that's actually pretty cool. And we still were going through names. So basically we ended up with Heartsick because we all wrote a list of 4 names, but the one name that showed up every time was Heartsick. So we're like, that's the one we
So
get.
that's the one you went with.
Yep, that's the one
okay.
we went
If you could sit down with anybody and pick their brain, alive or dead, just it could be philosophy, history, music, whatever. Who would be somebody that you'd like to?
Oh, wow, that's an amazing question. Who, alive or dead, anybody? Oh man, I would really, really love to talk to Bruce Lee. I feel like Bruce Lee, as a martial artist myself, just like all the things that he taught outside of being a movie star were just so prolific and so profound. So I would have loved to pick his brain on like how he related martial arts to life.
Yeah.
I think that's my answer.
I love his live interviews.
Oh, dude, they were
Oh, my
amazing.
God.
Like
He's-
you couldn't watch those and not feel like inspired.
Yeah.
It was crazy. That guy was like the most inspirational human being, right?
What was it? Flow like water.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's just he was just
Epic human being.
yeah
For sure.
And I mean I'm sure you've seen it. The only video that there is with him at a karate competition.
Oh, yeah.
Where he was demonstrating
Yeah.
his 1-inch punch. And
Oh,
everything.
dude, that dude flies, and you're just
and
like,
he hit the chair and it
yeah,
kept.
and it was real. Like
Yeah.
it was. You were like,
Yeah, they didn't
What's
have.
happening?
They didn't have editing like they do now.
no one can do that.
No, not at all.
No one can still do that.
And we'll wrap it up with this one.
Sure.
Excuse me. What was your influence growing up? I mean, who was there? Like a classic band, or was there somebody that
man.
really kind of influenced you and said, you know what, I want to do music?
Deftones. I started going to concerts when I was like 14 or 15, but my friends back home in Miami where I grew up, they were all really into music, and they showed me a bunch of bands, but the one band that really stuck out to me was the Deftones, and I was just kind of like, hey, that's the band I want to see, and we went to go see them, and I just fell in love, and I saw Chino live, and I was like, I want to be
That's
that.
it, huh?
I want to be that,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So now all your music.
Yep.
On all the downloads, obviously, and
Mm-hmm.
everywhere you can get them. Hard copy on your website,
Yes.
and obviously concerts. Go to concerts.
Yes, go to shows, 'cause you
got to
can
go
get
to
our stuff
shows
at
to get the
shows.
stuff because they got a lot more shit that
Absolutely.
you can buy.
Yep.
So after this, what's going on?
So we've got tonight, and then we've got some time off, and then we go back out again with Taproot next week, and then we come home, and then we go out to Ohio for a few shows, and then we're out with Earshot for a show, and then we come back home, and we go back out with that Taproot again, and then that's it for now. There's some things in the works,
But I know you can't talk
as far as shows. Well, we haven't like got on yes or no yet,
Okay.
but we have a brand new video coming out, a brand new song coming out. We're about to release another EP, so a lot of like stuff release-wise. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, check him out. Again, this is Alfonso with Heartsick. You got all the information from him that we could possibly get. He's got stuff to do, man. He's got work to do. He's got merch to sell. So get out to the shows or get on their website, buy their stuff. And, of course, we will see you on Asgard Radio.
See you later.